Hello, my name is Kent Hovind from Pensacola, Florida. I was a high school science teacher 15 years. I now travel the country and speak on the subject of creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. But for this tape you're about to see, this is one of my miscellaneous tapes in my section on how to make money. The real motive behind this tape is to teach students to get busy and get to work for the Lord and use their life for things that will be meaningful in eternity's sake. We hope you'll enjoy this tape. If you'd like a list of our other materials, you can call or write. We'll put our name and address on the screen. We'd be glad to send you those. We hope you enjoy this now. Thank you for joining us. All right. Well, it is good to be here today. My name is Kent Hovind. I was a high school science teacher 15 years. And I now travel the country and speak on creation, evolution, and dinosaurs about 700 times a year. Do a lot of debates at universities. All my stuff is hands-on. You're welcome to play with all my dinosaurs. But today we're going to cover a little different subject. I need to warn you about a couple of them now. This one is my Blondosaurus. So be sure to talk to her kind of slow, if you would, okay? All right. And it's... Flip that on, would you please? It's great to have all you students here from Rocky Bayou Christian School. This is one of the first schools I spoke to. I guess it's been almost 5 years ago, brother. Great when I first got started doing this, first in full-time evangelism, and it's a joy to have you here. But today I want to cover a little bit different subject, not on creation evolution so much. We've got videotapes, and I've spoken at your school a couple of times on that subject. How many of you go to a church where I have been to your church to speak on creation, evolution, and dinosaurs? Okay, great. How many go to a church where I have not been there yet? Okay, how many do not understand the questions so far? All right. Either I have been or I haven't been. Great. Today I want to talk about a subject a teenager always interested in. Teenagers love this subject. How to make money. How many of you would like to learn how to make money? All right. Well, if you will pay very close attention for the next few minutes, I can give you some advice that will make you a fortune. And when we get done telling you how to make money, I'm going to tell you how to spend money. You say, I already know how to do that. Well, I think you might be surprised on how to spend money. That's really as important, if not more important, than how to make money. If you want to make money, and I have been a school teacher 15 years, which means every summer I was unemployed. You teachers will know what I'm talking about. You got to scrounge around and find your own work. So how do you make money? How do you provide for your family? Basically, you're going to get paid according to what type of worker you are. If you're a good worker, you're going to make more money. So I'm going to give you, in order here, the 4 basic kinds of workers. And those that are intelligent will write this down because you'll say, this will help me in the future. Those that are not too bright will sit there with an open mouth and stare on their face, and looking at a calf, looking at a new gate. So I'll leave this up to you. But there are 4 kinds of workers. What kind of worker you are will determine how much money you're going to make in this life. The first kind of worker, and I'll have all these on screen for you. The first kind of worker, and Proverbs is full of verses about this, is the kind of worker, he sees what needs to be done, and he does it. Nobody tells him what to do. He sees what needs done, and he does it. There are very few of these in the world. When you can find a number one worker, number one workers, they see what needs to be done, and they do it. If you can find one of those, hire them. I've had very few of those work for me in the course of time. I've hired I'm sure I've hired over 1,000 high school and college people to work for me since I've been doing construction work on the side, teaching school every year, and then over the summer, doing construction. I've hired hundreds and hundreds, and probably well over 1,000 high school and college students to work for me. I look for number one workers. They see what needs done, and they do it. There aren't many of those. I'll give you an example. Brother Don, are the cans still out there? Would you bring those to me, please? Every one of you got off the bus and walked in. I had some things planted just to see if we had any number one workers in the crowd. Out by the pole, there was a Coke can smashed flat. And then in the hallway, there was another Coke can smashed flat. And I thought, I bet all the students will walk right past them. Now, some of you might have seen them, but nobody picked them up, right? Thank you, brother. Inside each of these Coke cans was a $5 bill. A worker will see what needs done and do it. I have done this probably several hundred times. I have only one time ever lost my money. That was last week. First time ever I had a student pick up the Coke cans. When I was teaching school, I would always do this. Instead of picking up all the trash on the parking lot, I would go tape a $5 bill under a piece of trash with a little note. Thank you for caring about our school and the way it looks. You may have this $5 bill. Pretty soon the students learn, hey, look for trash on the parking lot. See, most people see what needs done, but they don't do it. Hey, somebody ought to pick that up. Yep, somebody should have picked that up, shouldn't they? You never know what's going to be in there. Example, number one workers would see something, they say, hey, that's not right, and they fix it automatically. Another thing we did before you all came in this room, we messed up every single songbook. None of the songbooks are in there straight. Ah, yeah. Now, when you sat down in your seat, there's no money in them. Not that I put in there. When you sat down in your seat, some of you didn't even notice. Hey, the songbook's not straight. If you noticed and you didn't straighten it, then you're not a number one worker. Number one workers, they see what needs done and they do it. If you can learn to do that, I'm telling you, you'll make a fortune. I'll give you an example. We had a kid at our college in Texas. We'll call him Jeff here for an example. Jeff came to me one day. He was one of my college students I was teaching, and he said, Brother Hovind, I need a job. I said, now, Jeff, let me ask you a question. Do you need a job or do you need money? He said, well, I guess I really need money. I don't have to have the job, do I? I said, no. You really need money. You don't need a job. He said, okay, I need money. He said, but I thought I had to get a job to get money. I said, well, normally you do. I said, what have you tried, Jeff? He said, oh, man, I've applied to McDonald's and Hardee's and Kentucky Fried. And I said, well, Jeff, if they do hire you, they're going to pay you $4.50 or $5 an hour, and they're going to make a profit off of you, right? He said, well, yeah. I said, well, why don't you work for yourself? He said, I don't know how to do anything. I said, you're in college and don't know how to do anything? He said, well, I can play Pac-Man pretty good, but I said, well, nobody's going to pay you to play Pac-Man or change channels on the remote. You know, boy, you're really good at that. I said, surely, Jeff, you know how to do something. He said, no, Brother Hovind, I don't have any talents at all. I can't work on cars. I can't build houses. I can't do much of anything. I said, well, Jeff, come on. Let me give you an example. Can you clean out gutters? Jeff, are you smart enough to put the ladder up against the house, climb up, clean the leaves out of the gutters, and throw them in a bag? Think you can handle that, Jeff? He said, yeah, I believe I can handle that. I said, all right. Why don't you today start Jeff's gutter cleaning service? You're going to have your own corporation. You're going to be the president and executive vice president and the whole thing. You are the company. I said, I will loan you my ladder for 3 days. After 3 days, you're going to have to rent it off of me if you still want to borrow it, because I do not like loaning out tools. I'll rent it to you for $10 a day, because I don't want to rent it to you, okay? But for 3 days, you can have it free. Here's what I want you to do, Jeff. Put my ladder on the roof of your car. Tie it down, please. Then get a roll of garbage bags and drive down to a neighborhood that has gutters on the houses. It's very important. If you're going to clean out gutters, they have to have a gutter to clean out, okay? Drive down, find the neighborhood that has gutters, and you can tell sometimes from the street the gutter needs cleaned out, especially if there's leaves hanging out of it or if there's little trees growing in it. Then you know it's been a while since it's been cleaned out. I said, go up and knock on the door and say, hello, sir, ma'am. My name is Jeff. I'm putting myself through college. I noticed your gutters need cleaned out. I will clean out your gutters for $10. Do not walk up to the door and say, hello, ma'am. My name's Jeff. I'm putting myself through college. Do you have any jobs you need